gold down there, Diane. There's gold down there.
You're like their number one favorite guy. Because you won them cash. Hi, and welcome to the Secret Golf Tour Report, back for another week on the West Coast, actually the final event of the West Coast Swing on the PGA Tour. We're off to a very familiar place, and there's a lot of good feeling around Riviera Country Club for the Genesis Invitational. Wait a minute, do we know someone who won the PGA Championship at Riv?
Very lucky, Diane, that I was able to fight off your countryman, Colin Montgomery, in a playoff in 1995 to win the PGA Championship. Yeah, this course, Diane, is one of the tour players' favorite venues. And why is that? Why is Riviera so famous? George Thomas was the designer. He was known for, positioning beautiful holes with staggered bunkering. As you look down the fairway, it kind of told you what you had to do. But it's just, Diane, it's just right smack in the middle of Los Angeles. It's got the ocean on one side, it's surrounded by beautiful homes. The turf is magnificent, but more than that, it's just very fair. The players know what they've got to do. You're either going to play well at Riviera or you're going to be packing down the road because it asks you to do a lot.
Okay, we have so much to talk about this week. There's so many characteristics of this course. The field is utterly stacked. And of course, we want to hear a little bit more about your PGA Championship win as well. But first of all, we have to go back to last week, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And we had said on our show that it was seen as being a bit of a weaker field, especially after Dustin Johnson withdrew. However, it was an action-packed tournament, and Daniel Berger's eagle on 18 to seal the deal is one of the greatest putts I've seen on the PGA Tour for a really long time, probably since that DJ and Ram in the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Yeah, as you said, Diane, there was a very poor field at the beginning of the week, but by the end of the week, the course won again. Pebble Beach was the star, of course, and all the top players were at the top of the leaderboard. We saw Max Homa hit a great shot on 18. We saw Jordan Spieth, we predicted that he would be back in the action. He certainly was. He still has a few things he's got to figure out to get over that last little bit. But the whole day was won by Daniel Berger. He shot a 64 yesterday with an eagle on 18. Your brother was in the mix until he got a crazy ruling on number 5. But all said and done, the best player won the tournament last week, Daniel Berger. He was just too strong, too consistent coming down the stretch.
Thing is, Berger played great consistently, and then on Saturday when he was playing with Jordan Spieth on 18, he hit his tee shot off to the right, out of bounds. I mean, there was a moment where he was asking the rules official to get the string out so they could measure to make sure it was. Ended up making double bogey, and to have that kind of sour taste in your mouth on end of Saturday, starting your round on Sunday. It didn't affect Berger. It maybe affected him in a positive way because it just made him fight even harder.
Well, I think the whole golfing world was looking at Jordan Spieth with a 2-shot lead. We saw him make that famous shot now already on the 16th hole, an 8-iron from about 150 yards where he holed it on Saturday. By the way, Diane, you can hit it out of bounds. Depending on where the wind is on 18, you can hit it out of the bounds very easily on 18. We saw Pat Perez when he was a rookie.
Oh, yay.
18, knocked it out of bounds. I think he broke his club over his knee that day. Yes, but Daniel Berger came back and eagled it on Sunday. The wind laid down for him. When that wind comes in off the left, it's particularly difficult to get that ball down the left side of that tree because you have to take on so much of the ocean. Yeah. The natural thing is to bail a little bit. But no, it's those houses, Diane, they're right there.
They are really right there. As you say, all the pressure was on Jordan Spieth, and having a brother who was in contention on Sunday, we kept saying that on Sunday morning, that there was no pressure on Russell whatsoever because there were mountains of pressure on Jordan Spieth. 2 weeks in a row being in contention, back at course, he won the tournament in 2017. With all that pressure, from what you saw of him on Sunday, did the pressure get to him, or what was it about his game on Sunday that didn't translate to that victory?
Well, we talked about after he played well at Phoenix, you and I did, about what he had to do a little better to play well at Pebble. We knew his putting was hot. It stayed hot. I mean, yes, he didn't make every putt at Pebble Beach on the weekend. he's still got that little issue with his driver where we all are not sure where it's going, including him. But, you know, Jordan is an enormous. I was texting with Jason Duffner on the phone, and he is mesmerized by when Jordan just gets a little bit of a sniff of anything near the lead, he's able to catapult himself in. It may take another guy 3 months to work on their swing, or 6 months before they feel comfortable enough. Not Jordan Spieth. He's a gifted competitor. He doesn't need many things in his toolbox to get up there and win, and he's almost done it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, he said after his round yesterday that he feels the most confident in his game than he has in a really long time. And you could see it. For years, he was slumped. He didn't have that confidence. And Colt Knost, who's a good friend of Jordan's, was on the telecast for Golf Channel over the week. And he said that too, that he didn't have that confidence. The way he walks now, the way he talks to himself, his relationship with his long-time caddy, things are back in place for Jordan. And he said himself, we're going to talk about this later on in the show as well, that Riviera is one of his favourite golf courses. However, you do see a bit of a question mark over this week.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about it this week as we go into our show, why Jordan has said that Riviera is his favorite golf course on the tour. He was on the winning Texas Longhorn National Championship team in 2012 at Riviera. So I'm going to handicap him and everybody else on this course this week, right here on the show. Right.
So first of all, before we go any further, we have to talk about your PGA Championship victory. Just talk us through what you remember of that day and the moments that kind of mean the most to you.
Well, I had a very hot round on the last round at Riviera. I shot a 64 in the last round of the PGA in 1995. Got off to a hot start. Ernie Els was ahead that week. He was 4 or 5 strokes ahead of me starting the day. Brad Faxon, another friend of mine, he was off early that day, put up a 63. So I was looking at that number thinking, wow, I mean, it can be done on the last round of a major. But I've talked about this many times before, Diane. One of the reasons I played so well that day was because of how much sadness I had from being close in 95 at the St. Andrews at the British Open tournament, the one that John Daly won. I felt like that one should have been mine. And I doubted myself from every day up to that exact last Sunday. And I just knew for sure that I was not going to have the same feelings that I had when I left St. Andrews. And I went for it, and I kept my foot down the whole way, and I was able to do it. It was a great feeling.
How can you sum it up on 18? How many shots back were you actually heading into the final round on Sunday?
I think I was 7 strokes back starting the day, but I was only in about 6th position. Ernie was well ahead, and I had got off to a hot start, birdied 1, 3, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12. I was 7 under through 12, and I was 2 shots ahead. So the whole thing flipped. Mm-hmm. And I was back into the same position I was when I was thinking about this at the old course, not a month before. And I just knew that I was not going to take my foot off the gas. I wanted to kind of play safe, but something inside of me wouldn't let me. And I hit every ball at the flag coming in. And I just said, I'm going for everything. And even all that being said, Monty, your countryman, made 3 20-footers in a row on 16, 17, 18 to tie me to go into a playoff, if that wasn't nerve-wracking enough. So,
because you wouldn't have been in the final group, so you would have been waiting around to watch what he was doing to see if you were going to win, or.
Yeah, it was only 2 groups. Like I said, I started the day about in play 6th or 7th place. There was only 2 groups to wait, and Montgomery came in. He made a 20. I was in the scoring tent looking at a putt on the TV right behind me, knowing that if he misses, I win. And I just watched this 20-footer go straight in, and I'm like, oh, here we go. So I had to walk back down and play 18 again. Fortunately enough, I got a great second shot in there with just the exact putt that I knew what it was going to do. I knew Montgomery, if I gave him a chance at all, he was going to take it because he was so good. He hit it so straight. And where he left himself on number 18, and he would tell you if he was on this, was the hardest putt. It was like putting over the nose of a Volkswagen. And if I could make mine, I knew he couldn't make his. And the rest is history.
How many feet did you have?
20 feet, probably.
Okay. Oh, man, what a moment. Anyway, that's why we love Riviera so much. We were there last year, actually, you and I, and there's a famous statue there with your name on the plaque on the bottom of the statue that we got a nice picture beside.
Yeah, and Ben Hogan is on that statue. I think it was major champions that have been won at Riviera. Nice statue to be on, Diane. As they say, when you win the majors, you can never be forgotten.
Yes, exactly. Right. So on the show today, we are going to be talking in detail about Riviera Country Club, the type of player that's going to do well, and the main stats that we're looking at. We've got some interesting ones that we've kind of like put together this week as our formula to see who's going to rise to the top. As I said, a stacked field. So we're going to give you our re-ranked top 10. We have Sizzlers, dark horses, the Fizzlers. We are really just going to focus on one person and go really in detail as to why we think it might not be their week. I feel so mean when I say that. It really is.
Just saying they're not going to win this week.
Yeah, it's hard to win on the PGA Tour, as we all know. It's going to be a jam-packed tour report this week for the Genesis Invitational.
Compete against your friends on PGA Tour events. Win cash and bragging rights. Test your golf knowledge. Experience the success and failure of PGA Tour players. Man. SG Tour app is an engaging golf experience designed by professional golfers that created a variety of games, including single and multi-day games, as well as tournament-long contests. It's really simple. Join or create a game, pick 4 players, and win cash. You can even immerse yourself in interactive features, including course strategy, putt predictor, and daily content exclusively from PGA Tour players. The word is out, and golf fans are catching on. So don't miss out. Download the SG Tour app now.
This is the Secret Golf Tour report for the Genesis Invitational on the PGA Tour. This is it's Tiger Woods' tournament, and it was upgraded last year to an invitational like Memorial and Bay Hill for the API. Tiger Woods not playing this year because we know he had that small procedure on his back and he's out with injury. I mean, he is going to be missed this week, of course.
Do you know, Diane, that Riviera is the only course that Tiger Woods has never won a tournament on? I mean, think of all the 78 wins and 14 majors, and Riviera is the only one. Why is that? And it suits a person that has a fade like Tiger.
Yeah. Last year, actually, he made the cut. There was such a big deal around the fact he made the cut, and then he finished dead last. And he said himself that he puts pressure on himself to go out there, and this is one that he wants to win.
Yeah, and we know that, me, Diane, I'm very big on what does it take to win on this course on this week. And Riviera is very interesting. It has, when I was lucky enough to win there in 95, Diane, I was fading the ball. This course suits a fade so much. Ben Hogan loved this course. I think there's a couple of courses called Hogan's Alley. This is one of them. The Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth is another one they call Hogan's Alley. But there's 12 tee shots on this golf course, Diane, that set up perfectly for left to right. Okay. Only 2 for right to left. Number 5 and number 13 both need a curve from right to left. So it's perfect for guys that fade the ball.
When we do before we actually come on and do the show, we have an in-depth call about the type of player that's going to do well. And we look at previous winners. Adam Scott won last year, and there was a lot of big names. I remember the Sunday wasn't like an overly remarkable day and nobody played particularly well, but he putted amazing and he went on to win. So when we look at the type of player that does well on a course like this, Riviera's like its own little beast. And Adam Scott's stats weren't great at the time. He didn't have a huge amount of momentum heading into the week, but he still went out and came out on top at this place. How does something like that work?
Well, they started to tee it up yesterday on the coverage with Jim Nance and Nick Faldo. Faldo won here also in about 93 or 94, I recall. He won it. It's a ball. They already set it up as being a ball striker's paradise. Well, what does that mean? Guys that can hit the ball in the fairway off the tee and then get into the greens it's one thing to hit the green in regulation, as we saw. I think you have the stats in front of you from the PGA when I was there, when Colin Montgomery hit 85% of the greens. But when you start to think about an Adam Scott, who's a long driver of the ball, who hits it straight, and then he has a shorter approach shot with a lot of spin, these greens are the most difficult to get into the little corners where they stick these pins. It's one thing to hit the green, Diane. You can two-putt and make a par. But if you're going to try to make birdies at Riviera, you've really got to be able to be a superior striker. And by the way, excluding me, for example, the list of champions here is all filled with strikers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. And we have the strikers in the field this week. 8 of the world top 10 in the field. A lot of money up for grabs, 1.67 million to the winner. And if you win this event, it's a 3-year exemption on the PGA Tour instead of the normal 2. So there's a lot to play for this week. And as we said, the field is stacked. So we're going to re-rank the field. But first of all, we're going to look at a particular set of stats. So Elk, what's going to be important for the guys to do well this week and for us to put together our report?
Well, we know, for example, Diane, that, the tour averages on this course about 55% of hitting the fairways. We know, for example, the champion this week will probably have to hit around 75%. And although Colin Montgomery hit 85% of his greens in 1995, Diane, I think I was around 75%, which was in the top 15. And then you don't have to be the world's greatest putter. We know Bubba Watson, for example, has won this tournament 3 times. We know Bubba's not a great putter, but he's a great curver of the ball, can get into the corners of these greens. So what does it take? Well, if we're going to look at our list, Diane, the guy at the top, at number 1 player in the world, pretty much sums up what we do here, Dustin Johnson.
We're looking at ball striking. That's going to be a big stat for us this week as well. And ball striking is total driving and greens in regulation together. So we're doing one of those combined stats again.
Yes, and of course, Dustin Johnson fades the ball. I've told you already there's 12 left to right tee shots on this golf course. So you'll notice as we talk about our top 10, there'll be some guys in the field that don't hit fades. We've left them out of the top 10. This is why Adam Scott does so well here, why Bubba Watson does so well here. But on top of the board, Dustin Johnson, Diane, is a great driver of the ball, but he curves it left to right. He's become a very patient man. He's willing to not get upset with himself. He'll hit the greens, and he's a decent putter. I mean, yes, I could look at the putting stat, and he's probably in the top 20 or top 30. I think he's ranked 40th. That's good enough. He's the number 1 player in the world. He just came off a win in Dubai. He's going to be fresh. He took last week off, and this is just right up his alley.
He won this tournament in 2017 by 5 shots, finished second in 2014 and 2015. And in his last 7 appearances here, his worst finish is tied for 16th. And when you look at his stats around this course, his scoring average is the best. Of course, he's number 1 in that ball striking stat. Scrambling, he's 140th on the tour. But again, it's a little bit of he's number 1 in the world. There's not many marks.
He doesn't scramble much.
He doesn't have to.
Yeah. And when he does, just to give you an example how that plays in, someone says, well, he's 140th in scrambling. Well, if he hits 75% of his greens, he only misses 3 a day, and he gets up and down, say, 2 of them. Can he still be in this tournament? Yes, he can, because the scoring doesn't run away. It's a very difficult golf course.
Okay. Right, coming in at number 2 is last week's champion at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. As you said, Sunday was an exceptional round, capped off with an eagle on 18. Daniel Berger comes in at number 2 this week.
Berger's another fader of the ball, very confident now in his game with a win at that tournament. That will give him a lot of confidence. Obviously, he putted great. A lot of people were upset with how long it takes him to putt and how he does it. But winning on Poana greens gives you a lot of confidence. And Berger, let's face it, who's playing better than Berger right now? He just shot 64, eagled the last hole. He's right there, right neck and neck with Dustin Johnson on my sheet this week.
Yeah, and Poana Greens again this week. We're going to talk about another type of grass that they use on this course in a little while too, which I'm very excited about. We have Patrick Cantlay at number 3, and I mean, guys like Berger, like Cantlay, we're talking about them every week, and there's a reason why, but you almost run out of things to say because they're such consistent players on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I watched the golf this weekend, Diane. As you know, you haven't even mentioned that it's snowing in Houston, and we can't even go out and play golf. No, I'm only joking with you. It is snowing in Houston. But Cantlay went to school right down the street at UCLA. And honestly, when I watched the golf this weekend, it looked like he made a mistake on every hole. And what did he finish? Second or third or something?
Third.
So Cantlay's game is obviously excellent. He's got to be one of the favorites here. This is what he basically grew up on.
Mm-hmm. When I saw Cantlay get off to that start on Thursday, I thought, man, this is gonna be a whitewash. Like the way he played in round 1, he played mistake-free golf pretty much. But as you say, he does make little mistakes every now and again, but he does recover from them too.
Yeah, he's a great swinger of the club. Mm-hmm. He has one characteristic that Seve Ballesteros and Jose Maria Olazabal had, and that is they don't waggle the club. They waggle their feet. Next time you watch Cantlay, or this week on TV, he holds the club dead still and he waggles his feet. And he waggles until all systems say go. Us, we waggle up here until all systems say go. Yeah. So it's very interesting to see Cantlay. I don't know where he picked it up, but it's a very unique characteristic about his game.
Funny. Everyone's got their own little triggers. Justin Thomas coming in at number 4. No surprise. If JT's in the field, of course, he's going to feature in the top section of our re-ranked top 10.
Yeah, there's just no weaknesses in Justin Thomas. Likes to hit the fade. 2 weeks ago when he was at Scottsdale, my friend Jason Duffner watched him play the 17th hole. He took a driver and hit it 60 yards left over the water and sliced it back into the middle of the green. And Duff said, only a guy with that much talent and that much money would play the helicopter shot on number 17. So Justin Thomas's grandfather passed away last week. He had to go home to Alabama for that funeral. I hope he's over that. Of course, he never will. But maybe he'll be pointing his thinking towards that this week, and it may give him extra motivation.
Yeah. Okay, so the top 4 so far in our re-ranked top 10 for the Genesis this week: Dustin Johnson, Daniel Berger, Patrick Cantlay, and Justin Thomas. No surprises there. Coming up, we're going to go through the rest of the top 10. Then we're going to look at our Sizzlers, and we've got some great dark horse picks for you as well this week on our Tour Report. It's our tour report here at Secret Golf for the Genesis Invitational at Riviera Country Club. I'm Diane Knox, and with Steve Elkington, 1995 PGA champion around this place in the Pacific Palisades. Elk, we went last year, and man, this place is something else. I mean, you feel like you're in a Hollywood movie when you step on the course.
Incredible piece of property, Diane. As you noted, is a sort of a Mexican-style clubhouse right there behind you on that screensaver. On top of the hill, the course is sloped all the way down towards the ocean to the famous 6th hole, which has a bunker right in the middle of a green on a par 3. They set the pins behind it on both sides. Very difficult shot. But yeah, it's just one of the greatest. This is one of the greatest venues. The last hole is so iconic. I can't quite swing around. Maybe I can. Maybe I can show you a painting on the wall of the 18th green.
Where did you get the painting from?
Your countryman, Graham Baxter, I commissioned to paint the 18th hole.
And by the way, that walk from the 18th green up to the clubhouse, that hill is so steep. Last year, we were chasing players all over, and the amount of times that we had to climb up that hill, it's so steep. It's a workout.
But it does create the best amphitheater for people. A shame we won't have any fans again this week there, Diane, but you know, the course is so famous, so iconic. It's awesome.
Okay, so we're going through our top 10. Number 1, Dustin Johnson, then Daniel Berger, Patrick Cantlay, and Justin Thomas. No surprise with some of the biggest names in golf taking up those spots. The guy that comes in at number 5, well, he used to be one of the biggest names in golf. Then he just went through a little bit of a terrible time. He had a lot of injuries. His game just wasn't what it used to be. He said himself that at times he was in a very dark place mentally. Then he went back to a tournament that he had won a couple of years ago, and he got the W at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Brooks Koepka is our number 5 this week.
Yeah, Brooks Koepka, as you said, he was in a dark place. Now he's in a very bright place.
Yeah.
And very confident now. Things change very quickly on the PGA Tour. He was kind of lucky in a certain sense that he won at Scottsdale at the Waste Management. His playing partner, James Hahn, was 3 up on him at the turn. Then he kind of fell apart, and we saw Alexander Schauffele kind of lose his game a little bit, hit a couple of hooks. Jordan Spieth also, and then Brooks was able to pitch in on 17 and won the tournament. But I've got him right up at the top, Diane. He fades the ball. He does everything that I like about Riviera, but mainly he's confident. And he's got the courage to take on some of these pins, and he doesn't care. And that's what I like, that combination.
Okay. Hey, interestingly enough, the last 3 winners on the PGA Tour have all won off the back of a missed cut. Patrick Reed at Torrey Pines, then Brooks Koepka in Phoenix, and Daniel Berger last week. They'd all missed the cut the week before. So I don't know if that's a trend that we think is going to continue this week.
I was talking to the famous Jackie Burke, 98-year-old, the oldest Masters champion, and we talked about winning and what it takes to win. And of course, he talks a lot about you never think about it hardly ever until you have a chance to do it. But one time he said to me, winning is like race car driving. You almost got to crash on every corner. You've got to be a little bit reckless.
Okay.
At Riviera, you have to play a little bit recklessly if you're going to score at Riviera. Controlled
recklessness. That's the Jackie Burke quote, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so Koepka's number 5. In at number 6 is Bryson DeChambeau. I feel like he's vanished off the face of the earth. We saw him in Super Bowl commercials, but we just haven't really seen him.
Yeah, Bryson's on a different schedule. It's not a lot different, Diane, than we saw with Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods and Greg Norman. They don't play that many. Bryson, of course, won the US Open at Winged Foot last year, and it has that 5-year exemption, working on his body, working on a bunch of things. We have to put him in this position because he's so good. He's so dangerous when he gets going. But I don't think it's going to come together for him this week yet, Diane. I just don't know how you can be away from the game and come back and test a bunch of things that you've been testing. And I don't know if you know this, I think I've said it, he doesn't play golf when he's off. He only works in his simulator. So when he plays today or tomorrow, it'll be the first time he's played on our tour in a month. So I just don't see it, but maybe in a couple of weeks.
Okay. John Rahm comes in at number 7. And John Rahm, again, one of the biggest names in the world. There's no way that we couldn't put him in this re-ranked top 10. Why did he fall down to 7 instead of being in the top half this week?
Well, Rahm has new equipment. We put that to bed. He played good in Hawaii. I think Rahm needs to get out there. He has a baby coming, I think, in April, very soon. So I'm sure he's a little preoccupied at the house, making sure all things are on go there. But this is a perfect course for Rahm, Diane. He fades the ball. This is a power fade player, and he's in the same mold as Dustin Johnson. When you have a power fade on this course, it opens the golf course up to scoring more for you than a guy with a draw. You won't see Schauffele in this top 10 this week. You won't see a couple of other big names like Jordan Spieth in this top 10 as he was last week because he has too much draw spin on his shots.
Okay. Rory McIlroy is our number 8 this week, and he's got some demons of Riviera that he needs to overcome. Last year in the final round, he was leading, and then it all fell apart for him. Ended up finishing in a tie for 5th. It's almost like a common theme with Rory, and maybe it was at its peak this time last year.
Yeah, Rory, we've just talked about him a lot on this show about who shows up and how long does that good player show up for? When does he disappear and go back and forth and back and forth? Doesn't seem to have the focus for 4 days, and he's had trouble closing the deal. or he doesn't close a deal on Saturday and then comes back on Sunday. So he hasn't been able to put it all together.
Yeah.
Of course, we know the talent's there. This course will suit Rory. It's who shows up.
Mm-hmm. He's but his standards lately, I mean, you would think that they're good finishes, but by his standards, obviously we thought his first time playing the Waste Management Phoenix Open, we thought that it wasn't going to be a week that he was going to go out and win or get a great finish. I mean, he finished 13th. He was definitely one of the bookies' favourites. Finished 16th at Torrey Pines the week before that. So there is some form there. We know that he had the lead when he was playing in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, one of those events, ended up finishing third. So you're right, it's which Rory we're going to see turn up at Riviera, but I think he's going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder this week going back to last year.
It's true, but the footsteps are all around him, and when he gets into Sunday, the footsteps are in his head of what's going to happen, and there's a lot of guys that are playing this week that are as good as he is. Mm-hmm. So it's not about a runaway Rory like we've seen in the past. This is about he's going to have to fight. If he wants to win on Sunday, he is going to have to get down and dirty and fight. He can't brush things off. He's going to have to get in there and fight. Okay.
Last year, Adam Scott was the winner at 11 under par. And I mean, I talked about it with Rory, but it was it was a slightly dull final round, but Adam Scott could putt, and that's what made the difference for him. So we have to put him in our top 10, and he comes in at number 9.
Let's face it, Diane, there's nothing dull about Adam Scott.
There's nothing dull about Adam Scott.
And tell me what he is.
He's Australian, mate.
He's a Kikuyu specialist, mate.
I was like, I know you're going to make me say the name of the grass. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, it's Kikuyu, mate.
Kikuyu, mate. Kikuyu grass is the grass that we have at Riviera this week. It was a grass imported over from Australia, Diane. It's a very coarse grass. Adam Scott grew up on it. And you know, the beauty about when we re-rank these players, Diane, everyone knows that Adam Scott is one of the most superior ball strikers that have ever played our game, one of the great swingers, very powerful, and he knows how to play this golf course. He's won here before, I think twice.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to make every putt, which is great for him. We've seen it with Bubba Watson, who won 3 times here. So we know that is true if he is superior at driving and irons, and that is Adam Scott's game.
Yeah. Didn't he win here? It was like 15 years ago, but the tournament was shortened because of the weather, so it didn't count as an official win.
Counted to him, or did it?
Well, I mean, it would have. It didn't count as an official victory on the PGA Tour.
We always say, did you get the money? That's what we
yeah. I'm sure he got the money. So, and Adam Scott, the putter was his problem club, but looking at his stats right now, he's 30th in putting average.
Yeah, and we saw him finish 10th a couple of weeks ago in San Diego. Very similar conditions. I saw him hit some of the most horrific putts at San Diego 2 weeks ago, Diane. But that being said, it's the only part of his game that wasn't great, and he still finished in the top 10. So This place, look, if I'm playing with Adam Scott at Riviera, teeing it up with him this week, he's already got, a huge advantage just from tee to green with over a ton of guys, and it's all about where you get on these greens. It's one thing to hit the green, as I said, but there's great places to putt from on some of these holes.
Yeah, stay in the fairway and out of the Kikuyu. Although if Adam Scott's in there, he knows what to do. And completing our top 10, we were talking about Torrey Pines there for the Farmers Insurance. This guy finished second. He's already got a win under his belt this season with the Mayakoba. Victor Hovland is our number 10 this week.
Another fade player. I'm filling my teams up this week, Diane, with long, superior ball strikers that fade the ball, that can get into the corners of these tricky Riviera greens. We were looking at the 6th hole, the hole with the donut in the middle. Oh, yeah. I think it has a 215-yard tee off the back tee, and that with that donut in the green, there's only about 10 yards to the left of it. And when I start to think about guys that can just fly these 5-irons right in there by that hole, Victor Hovland is one of these guys. Okay. It's not one thing to hit the green. I'm talking about guys that are superior
Yeah.
Near the flag.
And I mean, you talk about him being a phenomenal ball striker. He's 9th for that ball striking category, which comes as absolutely no surprise. And 20th in par 4 scoring average. We know that Hovland's got the game, and he's 30-1 this week, which is good.
Hovland is a great young player. He's in a group of about a dozen guys now, and I think he was sort of behind Wolf. And they came out of Oklahoma State. Wolf took off, and now Wolf's flattened out a little bit, and Hovland has seemed to surge and has been a little bit more consistent. Seems to be able to put scores together each week better than Wolf, and Wolf is not in our top 10, and I don't see him on our board, and that will probably cost us.
Well, after watching him play at Torrey Pines, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, well, he withdrew with an injury after the first day, so we're always skeptical about players that are coming off injuries.
I know, you have to be. Okay, so that's our full top 10 on our tour report this week. Dustin Johnson, Daniel Berger, Patrick Cantley, Justin Thomas, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, John Ram, Rory McIlroy, Adam Scott, and then Victor Hovland. Still to come on the show, we're going to look at our sizzlers, guys that really move up in our re-ranking this week. We've got some good odds in there as well. Also, we're stacked with dark horse picks this week, which is always exciting. And we have the Secret Golf Celebrity Showdown. I've been trying to avoid mentioning this for the show so far because my score is appalling. However, all will be revealed next.
Compete against your friends on PGA Tour events. Win cash and bragging rights. Test your golf knowledge. Experience the success and failure of PGA Tour players. Man. SG Tour app is an engaging golf experience designed by professional golfers that created a variety of games, including single and multi-day games, as well as tournament-long contests. It's really simple. Join or create a game, pick 4 players, and win cash. You can even immerse yourself in interactive features, including course strategy, putt predictor, and daily content exclusively from PGA Tour players. The word is out and golf fans are catching on. So don't miss out. Download the SG Tour app now.
It's the Secret Golf Tour report for the Genesis Invitational at Riviera Country Club. We have given you our re-ranked top 10 and we're going to move on to our sizzlers in just a minute. Elk, we're doing the Secret Golf Celebrity Showdown every week through the SG Tour Golf Gaming app. You can be part of it. So all you have to do once we open up our public game is find it. It's a $10 entry fee. You pick 4 guys for your Fourball, and then we see how everyone gets on. After week 1, Jay was leading, you were second, I was third, and the celeb guest was 4th. After last week, it was Samantha Marks who was our celeb guest, and her picks were good. You won, actually, if you're looking at the full week out of us. I mean, you didn't win any of the money. Someone else there was a lot of people that were way above us. But you were on minus 16, Jay on minus 12, Samantha plus 9, Diane plus 25. Plus 25.
Well, of course, it's very expensive score-wise if you have a player that misses the cut.
Yes.
And I think you had a couple.
Yes,
so
I had 2.
8 over for each one of them on Saturday and Sunday. So you weren't doing too bad, but we've got to get you into making the cut for all 4. We are going to have another friend of mine, Marty Hackel, Mr. Style, will be joining us this week for this one.
This is going to be great. I've wanted to get him on like the podcast or on the show for ages. He is just the most amazing man, great stories, incredible fashion sense. So we're going to touch on that a little bit today. So we'll do the Celebrity Showdown in a little while. Right, we're going in with our sizzlers for this week. So these are guys that are moving up our re-ranking and they all have pretty good odds. The first guy, we're just going to talk about him and get him out of the way because you and I were a little bit against having him as a sizzler, but our producer, who we do trust immensely, he fought hard for Bubba Watson.
Yes, Bubba Watson. Corey Pavin curved the ball a ton, and he won on this course twice.
Okay.
I thought it was unbelievable back then because Corey wasn't a long hitter, but he was a super putter and he played at UCLA, thus the Patrick Cantley pick. Bubba Watson is the larger version of Corey Pavin, curves the ball a ton, not a great putter, but he's won on this course 3 times.
Yeah.
Our producer was adamant that he could not leave Bubba Watson out of the mix. Bubba finished 22nd at Phoenix. He's been out there in LA for the week, so he's not been affected by any adverse weather in the South. So There he is. You never know what you're going to get with Bubba, but he plays this course unreal.
So he won in 18, 16 and in 2014. And I was against putting him in as a Sizzler because I'm like, it's the easy option to pick a guy that has won 3 times. And if it hadn't been for that 22nd place finish at the Phoenix Open, we would have been like, there's no chance, no way. But if he is working on something, if he's been out there for a week already, if it's a course that he knows very, very well, clearly, and it suits his shot shape, then okay, we were happy to give in a little bit.
There's no hole that doesn't fit Bubba's shot shape. We see him aim 50 yards to the right. We see him aim 50 yards to the left. We saw him at the Waste Management hit a driver off the 16th hole in practice onto the green. So he has one of the greatest set of hands that God has ever given a golfer.
Yeah.
And, he can't be overlooked on this course. You know how big I am, Diane, on how to put together a score on a course
Yeah.
There are no rookies on this sheet because they got no chance at Riviera. There's just too many subtleties to react to.
Okay.
But Bubba knows it.
Yeah, and he's 45-1. So, better odds than anyone that was in our top 10. So he's 45-1, yeah. So we will put him in there as our first Sizzler. Coming in at number 2, this guy's 100-1, and someone's game that we know very well because he's part of the secret golf team. He finally got the monkey off the back by getting the win at the CJ Cup. It was at Shadow Creek in Vegas, and he's an incredible ball striker. So Jason Kokrak is a Sizzler for us this week.
Jason Kokrak was leading this tournament at Riviera a few years ago. He wasn't quite ready to win, and he didn't quite get there on a Sunday, but he, as you noted, he won last year in Vegas, actually ranking 35th in driving distance when he won in Vegas. Yeah. What does that tell you? It tells me that he's matured a lot because Kokrak's never played a tournament in his whole life where he wasn't number 1 in driving distance. Yeah. It's showed a lot of experience, a lot of maturity. And I know Jason very well, and this is the course that suits him very well. Power player. Mm-hmm. And he's got confidence, and he doesn't have to do everything on the greens, but it works right into, like Adam Scott. He's superior from tee to green, and that is going to help him here.
Okay, so Jason Kokrak is our second Sizzler, and our third Sizzler is a guy who has really been in contention a lot over the past couple of weeks. It, of course, has a lot to do with the fact that he's a California guy through and through, and with the tour being out on the West Coast, these courses, the conditions, they've just suited him. So the final event of the West Coast Swing, why not make it a big one for Max Homa?
I saw the shot that he hit on 18 at Pebble Beach yesterday. He had to kind of restrict his backswing under that tree in the middle of the fairway, hit it on the green from 260 yards. But I'm big, Diane, as you know, on California guys that are playing well in California, putt well on Poana, know what Kikuyu is, mate.
Kikuyu, mate.
So it's a little bit of a stretch for Honma to win this tournament, but I am pretty bullish on him being a Sizzler this week, Diane. There's a lot of firepower above him, but I often have told you that I think the sort of lifespan of a run is about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Honma is still got room to go up before he gets fatigued, and this is a week that he's had on his schedule forever.
And he's not intimidated by big courses because his first and only victory on the PGA Tour so far came at Quail Hollow for the Wells Fargo. So it's not something that's going to intimidate him. It was a major venue. This is a major venue.
I think Honma's getting better. I think he's getting more mature. I think he's getting used to it. I think as the evolution of a tour player, I think Honma is a 20-year guy, and I think he's through the first 5 or 6, 7 years of that. Yeah. And I think he's just starting to get into a new level, and that's what I see.
Yeah, he putts great. Sometimes over the ball on the greens, you just know that it's going to go in. You know that, I mean, he's not going to miss. 7th on the PGA Tour for putting average. So our 3 Sizzlers are Bubba Watson, Jason Kokrak, and Max Homa. Now, we've still got dark horse picks to come. You may have noticed that we haven't included Jordan Spieth in any of these categories, and that's because even after finishing 3rd last week at Pebble, 4th the week before in Phoenix, we don't think that the momentum will continue towards victory this week at Riviera.
Half the golfing world were just mesmerized by Jordan's performance in Scottsdale. Is he going to win? Then 3/4 of the golfing world was mesmerized by him at Phoenix, and he didn't win. But he is getting back into it. But I think, Diane, that shelf life that I talked about, that 3 weeks, been in the last 2 groups, the last 2 weeks in a row, starting to take its toll, pressure-wise. But I am not putting Jordan in the top 10 this week. I'm not expecting a win from him because he's still hooking the ball too much. And that is an absolute no-no at Riviera. As I said earlier in the show, there's 12 tee shots to go left to right at Riviera. Jordan is still putting a lot of right to left spin on the golf ball. And I don't think this course, even though he said this is his favorite golf course, he does not have the shot pattern right now to do it. And that's why I am predicting that things aren't going to go well for Jordan this week.
Okay then. How much pressure do you feel? Like, how much mental exhaustion is there after being in the final group? And you have all that weight of anticipation and pressure, let's be real, and hope, because people love Jordan Spieth and they want him to win. But I mean, how exhausting is it to have that 2 weeks in a row and not get a win?
Well, I think for him, I can't speak for Jordan, but I would say he would be upbeat because he is doing things that he didn't think or hasn't seen for the last couple of years. So I would think he would be very upbeat. I just think that this jigsaw puzzle that he has, his golf game, is not going to quite fit for him at Riviera this week. There's a lot of other players on this list that their piece of puzzle fits better on this particular golf course. And that's why, Jordan, he's still got a crooked shot in there. But every time he gets under a little too much heat, it goes left. And left is bad at Riviera.
Okay then. So he's our Fizzler this week. We don't have a few of them. We were just going to focus on the one big name that everyone is talking about and why we don't think Jordan Spieth is going to win at Riv. Right, so every week we do our Secret Golf Celebrity Showdown. And this week, while we teased it, we have an amazing guest for you. And that means one thing, the cheesy music.
It's Celebrity Showdown.
So we are back with week 3 of the Secret Golf Celebrity Showdown. And, well, the leaderboard right now is looking slightly dismal for me. I am at the very bottom, and I am just shocked that Jay and Elk are so far above me. I mean, even our celebrity guest category is kicking my butt right now, but it's okay. There's always time for redemption, and this could be the week. Now, I want to introduce our special guest this week because he is the most special, and we're so excited to have him on. Mr. Style himself, the former fashion director at Golf Digest, and easily the best dressed man I've ever met in my whole entire life, Mr. Marty Hackel.
You look great this morning.
Thank you.
I told her brown suits her, doesn't it, Hackel? Brown, green?
Yeah, exactly. You're the only PGA Tour player that's ever been able to pull off brown well.
Some people don't like it, but, if you get brown shoes and they're shined up, they look magnificent, as you know.
Yeah. You can tell everything you need to know by looking at a man's shoes.
Before we get into this, as you and I, Marty and I have known one another for 20 years, at the end of my career, or towards the end of my PGA Tour career, he would stay with me almost every week on the tour. And he would do his job, and we would hang out at night and talk about all kinds of things, but we really enjoyed fashion. Marty, what is going to be next? I am so tired of the fashion on the tour, the 5-pocket pant. They're all wearing the same one. We got one guy, Adam Scott, who's maybe wearing some pleats. Is there anything that we can look forward to? Please give us the lowdown.
I am begging for some changes. The only change that I see is I see golf wear evolving into sportswear. And everyone's calling it athleisure. I think they're misusing the term. And I don't really want to see golf clothes at the bar tonight when I go for a beer. So I think there has to be a little bit of separation there. But, it's difficult times to come up with these new looks. I mean, I don't really care for that 5-pocket pan on the golf course. It looks more like everyone's going in to clean the garage.
Well, this week, Adidas are launching their new range, and it's going to be more of that athleisure with joggers and collarless shirts. I know that you were telling me that you spoke to them about this. What do you feel about this new look that we're going to see at this Hollywood glam golf course?
Well, I think it's good for Adidas, and we're pronouncing that correctly when we say Adidas, not the Americanized version of Adidas.
And I'm the European, I should know better.
But I think it's good for them for trying to do something different. A little bit risky with joggers, because joggers only belong to tall people that are very thin. So, Elk, you and I are out of this equation.
I actually saw Akshay Bhatia wearing them last week. He had some fancy little shoes on. Did you see them? They had like kind of shiny...
he's got a lot of potential.
Hey.
Of course, he's about 6'3", and I think soaking wet, he might weigh 120 pounds. Pretty good golfer, though.
Yeah, I know.
I got a 5-wood that's heavier than him.
Yeah, I'm heavier than him. Jay is a lover of sportswear and coaches a baseball team. So, Jay, what do you think about this? What we're seeing on the golf course right now?
Well, I think we can all agree. I mean, as a baseball person, clothes matter. I mean, I'm a gearhead uniform person, and baseball's always had this evolution of fashion. In the 70s, it was powder blue color. That went away. A lot of zippers in the 70s, a lot of V-necks, a lot of polyester, kind of matched the golf materials, Marty, probably. But as far as the golf goes, we comment every week how monochromatic everything is, and it's just so bland. And then when you see golfers on, let's say, an overcast day, the whole thing looks depressing. I'd like to see some colors come back.
Okay.
Do you think this has to do with the COVID crisis, that everyone sort of has this very gray outlook, and we're reflecting that with the way people are selecting colors?
Maybe we should be doing the opposite, though. We should be wearing the oranges and the fuchsias and making everything a little bit brighter and sunnier.
Well, we have a chance this week because there's no better backdrop than Riviera.
I do have to ask one question, and we've seen it quite a lot over the past couple of weeks. Tyrrell Hatton, I think, was the first one to debut the golf hoodie. It's a very controversial subject, and it gets the golf Twitterati fired up. What do you think about the hoodie on the golf course?
Well, interesting that you bring that up, because last year I was at Riviera. I was at this tournament. The weather was diabolically cold. Justin Thomas, who at the time was wearing polo, wore a polo golf hoodie in cashmere that was washable, and he wore it on the first round. So, I mean, I think he was the first one to register, if you will. He was my Sir Edmund Hillary before Tyrrell Hatton. But Tyrrell Hatton did a fantastic job because he wore it 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
So good for him. It's been a huge success.
If you're winning, you can wear anything.
That's right.
Yes.
And then the final fashion topic, I guess, and I know Mr. Elkington's view on this, is shorts during the practice rounds. Marty, what's your opinion on that?
Here's a good rule of thumb. You never know who you're going to bump into. So you must always bring it, whether it's Monday or Sunday. You need to look your very best all of the time.
I love that. That's advice to live by.
You do anyway, Diane. But, Jason Duffner on the tour said, I'm not wearing shorts because Hogan wouldn't have wore shorts or Jackie Burke wouldn't have wore shorts. They're indeed following Mr. Hackel's recommendation of always looking sharp. So not everybody's wearing shorts. Most are. And I think I don't really have an opinion on it, honestly. I mean, practice rounds don't mean much to me either way, so I'm not worried about it.
Whoa, wait a second. Nota Begay once told me on a Tuesday at Westchester when he had a beautiful pair of trousers on, and I said, geez, you're bringing your A game on Tuesday. He's the one that said to me, you never know who's going to be in the stands.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, well, hopefully we're going to have some fashion mixed into your Fourball picks this week. So what we do for the Secret Golf Celebrity Showdown is it's a public game on our app, $10 to enter. The top 3 come the end of Sunday will win cash. Now you have to pick 4 guys, 1 from each of the 4 tiers, which are split up based on the official World Golf Rankings. We already know that Daniel Berger has WD'd this week. He was actually in C tier, which would have been I think he was going to be the most popular pick in that tier. Now that spices it up a little bit, Elk.
No doubt. And, a lot of these guys, we saw it happen with Dustin Johnson last week. He won in Dubai, decided to skip Pebble Beach. Now we've got Berger won in Pebble Beach, and he's decided to skip Riviera. As everyone knows, there's a lot of bad weather going across the country. Is he hurt? Probably not. Maybe getting home. Maybe has issues at his house. I don't know where he lives. But Berger's out. The field is so loaded anyway, so we're going to have a lot of fun today.
Okay. Jay, what do you feel about the standard of field this week, especially compared to what we saw last week at Pebble Beach?
Night and day from last week. I think one of us, I won't name who it was, called it a high school field. Maybe that was, I don't know who that was. But this week is the opposite. If that was a high school field, this is a master class in the field, how it lines up. It should be exciting golf.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Marty, we're going to get right into it. We don't give out our picks, and we leave that until the game kicks off just to keep everyone in suspense. Once you give your picks, that's them locked in. You cannot change them. So we're going to start with Tier A. Who is the first guy you're picking for your Fourball team?
Well, this is a no-brainer for me because I'm going with Adam Scott, and I'm going to tell you why. Yes, he did win the tournament last year, but that's not the reason why I picked him. I picked him because there's no one who wears clothes better than Adam Scott. And you know what? He wears Uniqlo clothing. He wears FootJoy shoes. And if I gave you $100 and told you to buy Adam Scott's trousers, belt, and shirt, the next thing you would do would bring me change because it's inexpensive and it looks great. Yes. So it's not about how much you spend, it's how you spend it.
Okay. Elk and I talked about Adam Scott. He can do no wrong in my books.
Why don't you tell everybody what Adam Scott is at Riviera?
He's a kikuyu grass expert, mate.
Trying to teach Diane to have an Australian accent, Hackel, is pretty tough. But it's a good pick you have here because Adam Scott, even though he actually is rated or ranked about 85th on the list, he is one of the favorites at Riviera. Why is that? Yes, he looks great. I mean, Adam Scott is a good-looking guy, plays well, dresses the part, but he has the game to back it up at Riviera. He hits it good off the tee. He's a great iron player. He doesn't have to make every putt. He's always struggled in that department. He's won this tournament twice. This is an absolute locked-in pick for you, Hackel. There's a lot of top guys you've passed over, like Dustin Johnson, John Rahm, but I like you stepping out on the limb with the Aussie.
Yeah, well, I was a little worried because I was thinking about, well, who fades the ball well? And I immediately thought of Brooks Koepka. And, he's a pretty strong player, and he doesn't wear any brand. He's not endorsing any clothing company, but he does one thing that's always great. And watch it this week. He will match his belt to his trousers. So you might not even see a belt when you see him on TV. So he's really taken that lesson to heart.
It's important.
I would make sure I didn't match.
Well, you could pull it off, you could.
What do you think, Jay?
Marty, I like the pick. To me, Adam Scott he looks like what a golfer should look like. He's a movie star looks, nice and clean lines. However, we're not judging him on his look. We're trying to judge him on his ability. Yes, he's a defending champion, but boy, did you pass over some names here. And I don't think anybody's going to be looking at Brooks Koepka's belt color when he's possibly raising the trophy up here. But we'll see. We'll see. I like that you went out on a little bit of a limb.
Well, I passed over Keegan Bradley. And Keegan Bradley, in my book, was the first guy that wore those MJ shoes. He was wearing Jordan golf shoes 10 years ago. He was way ahead of the curve.
Do you like them? Are you a fan of the Jordans on the course?
I'm a fan of them. Harold Varner wears them. I'm not a fan of them on me, though. They kind of look orthopedic when I have them on. I like more classic shoes that look like shoes.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think we can all agree on that, actually. Okay, well, we're moving on to Tier B. That's Tier A locked in, Adam Scott. So the B tier, Marty, who's your man?
Oh, boy, this was really a tough one for me. Brendan Steele was in this group, and he wears Link Sole, and his wife is a real fashionista. And then I was thinking, well, Russell Knox, who wears Vineyard Vines, had that rig last week where he had his stocking cap over his 6-panel baseball cap. I thought that was a good look. But at the end of the day, I've got to go with Victor Hovland because he wears Jay Lindeberg and always looks great. He also wears Audemars Piguet watches, so that's a perfect combination. So he's a dead cert for me.
The Jay Lindeberg stuff, that's the Swedish brand, and I love what they do because it's always, they have some bright colors. They're always a bit out there with their colors, but it's like nice block patterning and it's nothing too wild, but they kind of make a statement with what they pick.
Yeah, they've got great golf wear and they've got great ski wear too. So now when it's the middle of the ski season, it's a good thing to take a look at some of that Lindeberg ski wear.
Elk, you need that right now.
Okay, back to golf for just a second here. Hovland is a great pick. He is so strong. When he came out of Oklahoma State with Matthew Wolff, he was kind of the left behind guy, but now it seems as though he's been more consistent with his play. Won in Mexico, been playing well. I like Hovland anyway, and this is a great pick. He fades the ball, he's strong. The only weak part of Hovland's game, which has always been in question, is he's chipping. He says, I've got kind of chip problems, but I'm going to work on it. But he's still able to win tournaments, and I like everything about Hovland. He also wears Lindeberg, as you said. That's a line I can't wear either, Hackel. It doesn't look good if you're a little bit pudgy, so that's out for me. But I do appreciate when Jesper Parnevik came on the scene with Lindeberg, he really put him on the map. That guy looked so good when he went to the golf.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Al, if you wore Jay Lindeberg, you look like one of those, athletic teachers at high school. So with a whistle.
Oh, what
I love this pick. Ninth in ball striking, Victor Hovland. That's insane. I mean, the guy's, plus he's coming in playing well. We had him ranked 7th in form, Marty, 20th in par 4 scoring average. And he doesn't give a lot of shots back either. His bogey avoidance is great. And I'm a Jay Lindenberg. I can't wear that either as I'm getting up there. I've got too much softness going on. And I just remember, Jesper, we all recognized his hat, but it was really those narrow lines that he always had, right? Those bright colors and just that frame he walked around in those clothes in.
Yeah, how great. And by the way, speaking of driving, Victor Hovland drives a Lexus, and he was driving to all of the tournaments this past year. He wasn't jumping on airplanes. He was driving from one tournament to the next, kind of like a throwback to the 50s.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I like it too. It's a great pick. I have him penciled in as some of my prospects, but now that you've picked him, Hackel, I'm moving away. I don't want to be like you on this pick.
Okay, we're on to Tier C. As we said, Daniel Berger was originally in Tier C. He would have been the easy, obvious pick for so many, but he's out now, so we have to dive deeper. Marty, who have you got for the C tier?
I was up all night over this one. First, I thought Kevin Streelman. Streelman wears Johnny O. And he played pretty well last week. Then I thought, maybe Doc Redman. Maybe this is Doc Redman's week. And he wears Polo Golf and he wears RLX. And he's a great kid. In fact, it wasn't that long ago that he was caddying for me down in North Carolina. So I had sort of a sentimental thought about that. But at the end of the day, I got to go with Carlos Ortiz. I got to go with him for 2 reasons. First of all, he wears Grayson. And Grayson put the joggers back into golf. So Grayson's a really cool line. And he also wears Beltology, those knit belts. So he always looks great. And he's been having a very good season. So I'm very confident in that pick.
Okay.
When you and I were at the golf show, Hackel, we went in and saw Grayson. We went into the teepee that they had set up at the golf show. We sat and visited with the owners of Grayson. I enjoyed that very much. Carlos Ortiz is becoming a reputation of playing very difficult golf courses well. He won the Houston Open, Hackel, right here at the new course in Houston down at Memorial Park. And the guys had a lot of trouble with that course, very difficult. He was able to emerge with a victory there, and this is going to set up well for him. I don't know how much experience Ortiz has. He's only been on tour a couple of times. You do need to know your way around Riviera. You can get pushed around into corners where you can't score at certain parts of this golf course. That's why the guys that play well, like Adam Scott, do so well over and over. Bubba Watson, these guys, But Ortiz has a habit of playing hard golf courses. This is a very solid pick. Well done, Hack.
Well, thank you.
I love this pick. Way to go, Marty Hackel. This seems like a perfect C-level pick. He's really playing well, first of all, coming in 10th in form, just coming off a 4th place finish. And the thing I like about this guy is he's got just hovering around 3 to 4 top 20 stats across the board. His one area of weakness is scrambling, but he's a really good ball striker. He's going to score. I think you've zeroed in on a great pick here in Tier C.
Okay.
Thanks.
And he's from Mexico, which Poana grass they have down there. He would be very comfortable in this kind of turf. Kikuyu, mate, as Diane's having trouble saying today, is a grass from Australia, also grows in Mexico. You've got to be able to. People say, well, why is it so difficult to play out of Kikuyu? Because it has this bit of a sponge. Hackel, you'll know that amateurs love it. The ball sits up like this, but when you're a tour, you can't dig down after it out of there. Otherwise, you'll hit it too high on the face. And that's why Adam Scott's a real sweeper of the ball. I did well at Riviera, of course. I'm a sweeper, so it worked out really well for me. Ortiz knows this turf.
Yeah, this is why I have trouble at Spyglass, because of that Kikuya there. But Abraham Answer might be another good dart.
I don't know if he's available in D, is he?
No, he's in the A group.
He's
so
A.
he would my backup.
So normally when we get to tier C and D, I mean, you're looking for guys that are going to make the cut, because if they don't make the cut, they're marked down for an 80 over the weekend, both days, and that's been my problem over the past few weeks. But the field is really stacked. 8 of the top 10 in the world this week. So as you say, tier C, you're getting someone like Ortiz, and that's such a great name to pick. But tier D is always the interesting one. We have the most fun with this tier. So Marty, who's your final 4-ball pick?
Well, this is a tough one. I'm really on the edge here. My first thought was Brian Gay, and Brian Gay wears a brand called G4 that's now part of the Peter Millar group. And Brian Gay always looks fantastic. And he's got a very, very good iron game. He doesn't hit the ball as far as many, but, he's a pretty accurate player. And then I thought, well, Peter Milnati wears that floppy hat that I always think is great. And he's had a pretty good year, so maybe Milnati, but at the end of the day, this is going to be a good one, Cameron Tringale. And he's been playing well. He also wears Grayson, always looks good. He's a really approachable gentleman. He's just a great guy. So it's kind of a sentimental pick in a way, but I'm going with Tringale.
Okay.
It's a good pick. He was almost in the playoff at the RSM a couple of months ago. I saw him near the last groups a couple of weeks ago at the Scottsdale tournament, and I saw him on TV last week at Pebble Beach. Didn't quite push his way up the board. Maybe you're onto something here, but I did notice when you talk about Grayson, he was wearing that snake shirt with all the snakes on it. And Hackel, I got to be honest, if I had that shirt on, mate, I would shoot a 92 if I had a shirt that had snakes on it. Are you kidding me?
He can pull that stuff off. He's a handsome, tall, good-looking guy. So, he can make it work.
So you bookended your teams with 2 good-looking men, Adam Scott and Cameron Tringale. Diane, give us some help here.
Well, I mean, I was going to say Tringale, if he wears Grayson, he's nice and tall. He can get away with those joggers. He would be like the prime candidate to wear the joggers, Marty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jay, help me here, please.
Well, I'll tell you what he wears well. It's been his finishes and his play. That's what he's wearing well. I mean, every weekend this guy is suddenly in contention. So I don't think any of us are going to be surprised, even with a loaded field like this guy's going to keep playing at a level that we might start seeing his name instead of top 10s into the top 5. He's coming off a top 7. He finished 7th last week. His numbers are great across the board. He's another guy that's just top 20 in everything. He looks good. He plays good.
I want to say something about shoes, Hackel, and you know me, I've always worn leather shoes, very firm shoes, and the big problem I have about, joggers or the softer shoes nowadays is I can't use my feet. I want that really firm edge. It's called the welt, W-E-T, of shoe, and I want to be able to roll that shoe and use it in my swing action. And I've got to have shoes with a super firm structure.
Well, you're going against the trend there, Elk, about the only player left who believes in a very firm sort of sole on his shoe. And I think there's a search party out for him now, actually. Ricky Fowler. He is missing in action, but he's about the last tour player that really likes a firm sole on his golf footwear. I mean, Adam Scott, who was very involved in the new FootJoy shoes that are coming out right now, you know, he likes a more comfortable shoe. He does require performance out of it, but he's not that hard sole sort of a guy. So, Elk, you and I are probably the last two holdouts for real shoes.
Yes, I think that's okay as well. I've always been a little bit that way. Of course, Nick Fowler might argue that those fours or
oh my God. Oh, hold on. That there's something about that, and he's claiming that you can hit the ball further because the shoes have a square toe. Does that mean if the shoes had a round toe, I'd make more putts?
And isn't it a Euro thing that they wear the square toe, or what is it?
I don't, do you know, having said that, I actually bought a pair of shoes for me not long ago, but they're heels, open-toed, and they're square at the front. I will not be hitting golf balls in them, though, I assure you that. Marty, I have one fashion question because Elk has made fun of me about this a lot in the past. What is your opinion on golfers wearing white pants?
Great if they're driving an ambulance or if they're selling ice cream. But I'm a firm believer that white pants are terrific from May 30th until Labor Day, the first week of September. After that, unless you're in the hospital, don't put those white pants on.
I had a feeling that was coming. Right, so just to confirm, your team this week is Adam Scott, Victor Hovland, Carlos Ortiz, and Cameron Tringali. So we're locking that in. That is your team. It's an impressive Fourball, and you've got me quaking in my square-toed heels a little bit.
Geez, you know, I can't wait for the end of this program because I've been up all night working on this. I got to get some rest.
I think your picks have been noted, and I will be trying to trump those at each division in my game. And we will, if people do want to play against all four of us, they can go to the SG Tour app, find the Celebrity game, and join it with us.
I think this guy this week is going to turn around the Celebrity fortune because...
Well, he has meat that goes with it. He's got a lot of passion that goes with his picks.
And I like his style. He dangle a few names out there to get you thinking, and then he pull the rug out and reveal his pick. Marty, well done. I look for you to be a worthy competitor this week.
Hey, thanks, Jay. I'm banking on it.
Hey, Marty, before you go, I just want to ask you, for anyone watching this, you know, whether it be a professional golfer or a recreational golfer, what would be your top piece of fashion advice for right now and the current trends?
If you have to stand in front of the mirror for longer than 10 seconds, go change.
We should put that on a t-shirt.
That's good advice.
I know, it's perfect advice. Marty Hackel.
Great advice.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much. I mean, I've learned a lot, not only about the picks, but about fashion, and we really do appreciate your insights.
Well, thanks a lot. Thanks, Diane, Jay, Elk, all the best, and all the best to everyone out there. I think my 4 picks look pretty strong right about now.
So it's the final section of the Secret Golf Tour Report for the Genesis Invitational this week. Our Celeb Showdown with the icon that is Marty Hackel. Jay, I have a question, and the only reason I didn't ask it during the Celeb Showdown was I didn't want to embarrass you in front of Marty, but did you make an extra special effort to dress nice today?
There's a lot of pressure to look good when you have a fashionista on the show. And so I dug into my closet and I pulled out my best cardigan sweater and I put some extra product in my hair. I had my nails done. I just felt like I've got to bring it today.
Before we started recording it, I actually saw you put saliva on your hand and run it through your hair to tap down the back. But yeah. I mean, I'm calling you out. However, I know for a fact that you're wearing baseball or basketball shorts.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That's not true. You're lying.
You definitely are. I know you well enough by now. Okay. So Genesis Invitational, we're going to see this icon that is Riviera again this week. You like this course?
I love it. Back in the day when I was working for the PGA Tour, when I first got hired, my first project was Vijay Singh needed a clip reel. He wanted all of Ben Hogan's swings. And we had this entire reel of Hogan at Riviera. So it looks exactly the same. Yeah. To me, it's sort of the iconic golden era golf course.
Yeah. It's like that old Hollywood style and everything. It just seems very glitz and glam when you're there. Bearing in mind it is in Pacific Palisades and all the houses are blooming mansions around the course, but it's just got that kind of old Hollywood glam about it. And it's going to be great to watch this week. And that's why we had Marty Hackel on to rip the modern golf fashion apart.
Well, I mean, who's going to doubt Marty? I mean, the guy, look at him. He looks spectacular. The guy's impeccably dressed. It was great having him on, wasn't it?
He wears that woven tie. I love that. Anyway, right, we have important matters to deal with in the form of those dark horse picks. So I'm looking at our sheet and I have one pick as usual, but you have 3 names this week, which tells me you're either being very greedy or you're slightly indecisive.
I am so confident in my picks this week that I had trouble narrowing it down. In fact, I probably could have come up with a couple more. It was very difficult to cut my list down, but I was able to do it. And I think these 3 men this week are going to love being in LA. Okay,
well, you can start with one.
Well, I'm going to start, probably going to go in reverse order, 3, 2, 1. So this first guy I just love his name. That has nothing to do with the fact that I picked him, but I just love this guy's name. But what I like more is his ball striking. He ranks 22nd on tour. He's not coming in with the greatest form, but his numbers match Riviera. 52nd in scrambling, 20 in par 4 scoring average. And one thing I like is bogey avoidance. Let's not drop a stroke. He's 18th on tour. My first dark horse this week is the one and only Doc Redman.
He's popped up quite a lot on our reports for this 2021 season, especially the fall season before the Christmas break. But as you say, he's coming off, pretty much a dead last finish and then 2 miscuts. But his numbers, when you look at our sheet and we color coordinate everything, he's got green in 4 out of 5 categories that we think are going to be important for Riv this week. So Doc Redman at 225 to 1, like those odds are brilliant. Yeah, there's got to be something in that. I agree with you.
Yeah, 163 in putting average, that's his Achilles. So we always say, can a player overcome his weakness? Mm-hmm. He needs to drop some putts. If he does, look out for the good doctor.
Okay. Do you want mine? Do you want me just to go with mine now?
I really do.
Okay, well, this is a guy that I had picked for Torrey Pines, and he let me down. He was my dark horse for Torrey Pines, and I was so big on him, and I think he started hot and then crashed and burned. So the following week for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, I was like, should I pick him again? And I didn't, and he ended up finishing 7th. And then last week at Pebble Beach, he was in the mix and finished 16th in the end. Matthew Neesmith has got fantastic stats. Off the tee, that ball striking stat that we're putting together this week, he's 4th on the whole PGA Tour. That's definitely his strength. He hits the ball a mile. If he can keep it in those fairways and if he can get that approach to the green, which all seems to be working for him right now, I think that this being a bomber's course, could suit Neesmith, and at 140 to 1, he's my dark horse pick.
Picking players it includes a lot of forgiveness, doesn't it, Diane? You've been burned by Mr. Neesmith, and now you're forgiving him, and what a better way to do it than in the City of Angels, where that demands forgiveness. So I like this pick. He's playing very well, and I like the fact that you're able to overlook your past history with him and not hold any grudges. Well done.
Well, you've had to do that with Max Homa, and we have him as a Sizzler this week. Homa let you down.
No, I'm still upset with him, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Right, so that's my one. You're going with 3 this week. First one was Doc Redman. I gave Matthew Neesmith. Who's up next for you?
So I like this guy. I've always liked this guy, and I've always had my eye on him. His numbers, he's got 3 of our 5 categories, 2 in the top 10, 1 hovering at 11, just outside the top 10. Ball striking at 11, par 4 scoring 7th, bogey avoidance at 8. So he's scoring on the par 4s and he's not dropping shots.
Yeah.
That means this guy is a climber. My second dark horse pick, Emiliano Grillo.
He's been in contention a lot since, again, the start of the 21 season. I would say his name has been on our radar. The thing about Grillo is I feel like he goes really low, maybe Thursday, Friday. Saturday or Sunday, one of those days it falls apart for him a little bit. But again, I really think that that's going to come. We've seen it time and time again. It's experience, and it's putting yourself in that situation and being able to perform as well as you have for the previous couple of days. So I think it's only a matter of time for Grillo. And as you say, he has 3 of his 5 stats within the top 11 on the PGA Tour, which is incredible.
I mean, I'm looking at a lot of the guys at the very top of our sheet, and you don't see that. You don't see guys with numbers like that. And again, you're going to see a running theme with my picks, and I'm going to give you the third one in a minute. They struggle with their putting average. So the PGA Tour and scoring is all about making putts. Most guys are great very good ball strikers and get on the green. Can they make those 5 to 10 foot, and then every now and again those 20-foot putts to really tack on that score? If one of these guys can do it this week, look out.
And the scoring's not necessarily super high at the Genesis Invitational. Adam Scott winning at 11 under last year. The lowest the score has been over the past couple of years is DJ in 2017 at 17 under. So it's not going to be a shootout. It's a difficult course. And Grillo 11th for the ball striking stat on the PGA Tour. I like it. 160 to 1. So a guy, I mean, finishing in the top 10, I don't know what those odds are, but they've got to be good.
You ready for number 3?
I am.
Well, this one, full disclaimer, I have a conflict of interest here because this guy is somebody we know very well. Here's some inside information. He has the nicest mother in the entire world. That's a huge stat for me. Yeah. How nice is his mom? This woman is a saint. Now, she also has a daughter that I have to put up with every now and again, and I forgive her for that. So if you can't guess by now, my third pick is Russell Knox. He is 3rd in bogey avoidance. There's my theme of the week. Can they hang in there without giving away shots to the field? His ball striking's always been his calling card. 31st on tour, 23rd in scrambling if he misses the green. Par 4 scoring, he's the 28. The running theme of putting and putting deficiency that runs through my team this week. Russell's right there. We've always known he's struggled with the putter, but here's what I like. He's playing very well. Yeah. We have him coming in form 46, but his Thursday, Friday, and then being in contention this past week is going to do a lot for his confidence. So I kind of feel like he's getting on this roll, or he's been on this roll. He's actually been playing very good, consistent golf after going through a bit of a down period. So my third and final dark horse, saving the best for last for one, Val Knox, is her son, Russell.
Oh, that's great. I mean, 150 to 1. I could say so much. I get blasted on social media every week. If I pick him, I get blasted for being biased. If I don't pick him, it's like, where's the loyalty? So, obviously, like, Russell and I talk a lot about golf and his game, and then we talk a lot about everything else but golf sometimes. So it's not like I want to give away like anything, but Alex sent me this stat yesterday, which I loved. So far this season, Russell's hit 76.2% greens in regulation. Only Tiger Woods has hit more than 75% for an entire PGA Tour season, and that was in 2000. So Elk and I both sent him that stat. And, amazing. He's playing to the strength of his game right now, and he's working very hard on that kind of flawed stat, which has always been the putting for him. But he's working with new coaches, and he's got the line on his ball now. There's a lot going on, and he's put in, I think, more work than he ever has with his game. So it's good to see it paying off.
And I'm surprised you're overlooking the key feature that's happened in his life. He got a dog named Rusty. Clearly, since Rusty came into his life, his game has turned around. Maybe that was the missing link.
I text him sometimes saying, do it for Rusty. So our puppies are actually meeting for the first time next week. We're very excited. That's pretty much all we talk about right now. Never mind golf, we just talk about the dogs. So I approve of that dark horse pick. I approve of all of your picks this week. Great odds, big names. Russell Knox, Emiliano Grillo, and Doc Redman. And my dark horse is Matthew Neesmith. Right, so this week, the Genesis Invitational at Riviera. I hope you've enjoyed our tour report. We've got some great insight on this course because obviously it's where Elk won his PGA Championship. Jay just saying there, it's one of the most iconic venues on the PGA Tour, and we're excited to see it in all its action. Next week, it's a double week with the WGC, which has been moved to Concession in Florida. The start of the Florida swing, I guess. And the Puerto Rico Open is going on as well. And then, of course, we get into Bay Hill, Players Championship, blah, blah, blah. It's all the big stuff after that. So we will be back next Wednesday with another tour report here from Secret Golf.
Compete against your friends on PGA Tour events. Win cash and bragging rights. Test your golf knowledge. Experience the success and failure of PGA Tour players. Man. SG Tour app is an engaging golf experience designed by professional golfers that created a variety of games, including single and multi-day games, as well as tournament-long contests. It's really simple. Join or create a game, pick 4 players, and win cash. You can even immerse yourself in interactive features, including course strategy, putt predictor, and daily content exclusively from PGA Tour players. The word is out and golf fans are catching on. So don't miss out. Download the SG Tour app now.